Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. Some momentum looks to be building towards a potential fight between Joyce and Jarrell Miller. As we know, Jarrell Miller currently serving a drug ban. 3 different substances were in his system ahead of a scheduled fight with Anthony Joshua. He was pulled from the fight given a 6-month ban. He's slowly coming towards the end of that. He's had to undertake some VADA testing, which he'll have to provide to the WBA. But the question is, on re-entry into the division, into the rankings, etc., what does he do? His promoter Greg Cohen has spoke publicly about wanting to get Miller back into the ring as soon as October. But one of the questions I had, and this is something I discussed in a Patreon video just recently, who was going to take a chance on Jarrell Miller? And seemingly it could be Joyce and Joyce's manager Sam Jones. Jones had thrown out Jarrell Miller's name as a potential who would you like to see Joyce in with. And Miller had responded on Instagram, and I'll quickly play that and then on to the newer developments.
But listen, 14 more days, timeout is over. I don't care who it is, somebody will get their head taken off. And I had, what's his name is Frank Warren tagging me in pictures about that lurch ass Joyce want to fight. Tell that boy he don't want no smoke with me at all. Send me the paperwork. Cause Ray Starr didn't believe in his ugly ass, and clearly he didn't care, let his ass go. So Joyce wants some work. You come holler at me. Tell your new pimp, Frank Warren, send my people a contract.
So Jarrell Miller clearly is open to a fight with Joyce, and I guess with anything, it's going to come down to a number of factors, chief among them, likely money. But at the moment, what is Miller's market value? Obviously, it's taken a pretty decent hit because of what happened ahead of that Anthony Joshua fight. Miller is characterizing it as he's on a timeout at the moment, but let's face it, let's not mince words. He's a drug cheat, he's on a drug ban, so his stock is down. So in terms of Joyce, if they can sort of put together the right sort of deal, they might be able to get this cheaper than they otherwise would have, say, than 6 months ago. And in an interview with World Boxing News, Joyce's manager Sam Jones, he says the fight is perfect timing. So you can see here, exclusive Joyce, Jarrell Miller, face-off, fight is perfect timing. And we'll go down to the quotes quickly. Hopefully we can get this done, as it's a massive fight. Jarrell has declined a fight with Joyce before. I think this is perfect timing. And then it notes that Joyce and Miller went head-to-head at the Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua 2 presser in New York just a day or so ago. And Jones continues further down the story. So if we say we won't fight Miller because he failed the test, we'd have to say that about others that have failed the test. We want this fight, so providing he agrees to extensive testing all the way up into the fight, Joe will gladly welcome him back to boxing with a beating. This is a massive fight for the fans, one that we will fight hard to make a reality. That's Sam Jones, Joyce's manager. And just heading over to his Twitter, so he says the juggernaut is ready. And that's in response to Miller's Instagram clip, which I played before. Also, he says Joyce will end Jarrell Miller once Joe gets his hands on this guy. It'll be game over. And he also says the problem, that's that quote about the facing, the guys in division that have failed the test. And actually, he's got a good point, because even within the top 10, or the guys who are rated among the top 10 in the heavyweight division, you have the likes of Dillian White. And I'm not talking about this most recent instance. He obviously had served a ban earlier in his career. You now have Jarrell Miller. You've had Luis Ortiz. And that's not the stuff with the blood pressure medication, but an incident from 2014. Also, you've had Alexander Povetkin falling foul of drug testing as well. So there is a number of names in the heavyweight division, as Jones points out, that have failed tests. But obviously, some of these things with the passing of time, they not get swept under the rug, but they do sort of fade with the sands of time. And obviously, guys can come again, and if there's testing in place and they can prove they're clean, there is nothing to keep them out of the ring. And this potential fight between Joyce and Jarrell Miller, it might be the right fight at the right time for both. Obviously, Jarrell Miller coming off that ban, he may find it hard to actually get some of the fights he would like to be in. So this could be the an opportunity that he could grab with both hands. Joyce obviously coming off a good win over Bryant Jennings. And for Joe Joyce himself, he's looking to take that next step up in the heavyweight division. He's trying to fast track his career, get towards the elite end of the heavyweight division, and beating a guy in Jarrell Miller who is regarded as, generally a top 10 heavyweight. That would certainly catapult him into bigger fights again. So I actually like this fight, and given that Sam Jones was able to put together the Bryant Jennings fight recently, I wouldn't actually bet against him. And with the circumstances that surround Miller at the moment, and maybe options being a bit more limited than they were previously, this might be the right fight at the right time for both of these guys. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.